as usual it happened that after the first season, नहीं वो TRP जो है वो soaps की तरह इसकी TRP नहीं है, TRP is not as good, you know. So sometimes what happens is when you're slightly, I feel you're doing something which is slightly ahead of times, in a way, not ahead of times where the world is concerned, but India, so you have a little problems. But I was very, very passionate, very committed to it. And that's what I've done in my career, always. That I've done things which I instinctively feel that I should do it, not really following the trend. And this is the trend. नहीं, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि instinctively this is the right thing to do. This is great storytelling, and I go for it. And that's the way I've done 24, which is almost more than 10 years back. And then I've done night managing. So a lot of other shows also which you offered. And then suddenly everybody said that we want to do a show. We want to do something like 24. And suddenly that became a kind of a reference point for everybody. But when I was doing, I had a lot of, it was very tough for me to make that show. And then again, Night Manager was an adaptation, they bought the rights. The same people had bought the rights who had asked me not to buy the rights. Why are you buying the rights? And they had bought the rights. And I think they had paid more than what I had paid. So how things change. And now everything is done. I think we are doing something together, which is hopefully will be something as exciting as 24 Night Manager. Do you want to say anything? I've said my take on my journey of technology changing and then going with my gut, going with my instinct, and having the right people around you also makes a lot of difference. Who are the people around you, your team, and who backs you, who gives you the right advice, and doesn't misguide you. अरे मत करना यार, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता, copy कर लेते हैं, without rights कर लेते हैं. That's not the way. For long run, this is not the way to do business. This is not the way. If you want to stay relevant and to stay, now that people call you to speak about it, that means you have to done everything has to be done very ethically, very honestly, and everybody should get the due. And you should be fair. Being fair in business, I think, and in creativity also is the key. This is my take on whatever you asked me.
Yeah. I think what you've done at some level has been, you've always defied, I think, the odds of the market norms, so to say. On a smaller note, I remember even when your host then came, that was also the era where all the actors, there were no mutual actors, right? And you had Dharmendra and Jitendra and all those actors, and you obviously defied that. In some ways, you were also the first actor with a beard. As I think शायद सारे हीरो का beard होता है मूवीज में.
Yeah, because वो वक्त था जब बड़े filmmakers ने they had given statements and said कि मुझे वाले actor कभी successful नहीं होते. And because most of the successful stars and actors are without the mustache. And I was cocky at that time, so I would say Charlie Chaplin, Raj Kapoor, Clark Gable, all these guys, all these great actors have been with the mustache. And then of course you were about the stubble part of it. Stubble became so people would identify me with the stubble because I started the stubble not because I just felt because I wanted to do those kind of roles which were the macho roles, which are the alpha Romeo kind of, not Romeo, alpha male kind of roles, which now has become very popular after Hannibal. But I was doing those kind of those roles I wanted to do. And I had a very, when people felt that I'm a very small and a very baby face, so I had the stubble for everything. So if there's a action film, I have to have a stubble. Romantic film, I would have an action, a stubble. Mystery, I had a stubble. Playing a lawyer, I had a stubble. So that became, and I used to have this beard. And I remember senior actors who were very close to me. They said, "There was काम नहीं है, दाढ़ी हुआ के घूम रहा है." और आज हर actor दाढ़ी के साथ है. तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि बस काम नहीं है.
But I think coming back to our role, Anil, I think on this question, I think from our point of view as OTT, I feel हमारा काम काफी simple है. All we've been trying to do over the decades is solve for reach and access. Content making, content narration in this country is thousands of years old. We had Natak Mandlis, we had Ruperts. I think what cinema did was brought it in a large format to a certain geography. And then TV came, and TV took it to a larger audience. TV was still, I think, largely still segmented by languages to some extent. And I remember TV really started in India around, early 80s, around Asian Games. In I think 82 or 83, I think उस टाइम में शायद 2 या 3 करोड़ लोगों को access था TV का. And then I spent a lot of time in cable and DTH because that was the new technology at that time that took it from Doordarshan days ahead. And I think that technology helped us take it to 15, 16 crore homes. And OTT is helping us further. मेरा मानना है OTTs today, at least 65, 70 crore people are connected in this country real time to content in different forms. So, and whether it's content or gaming companies or food companies or ticketing companies, at some level I feel we're all solving for access and sort of easier storytelling for consumers to make choices. Define the job, odds is I think a little more trickier job that you do, and that's why you're the superstar for the last 4 decades. But in that sense, I think I feel our task is a little more straightforward, cut out. Sometimes you get a little lost in this whole transformation and kuch major ho raha hai. I feel it's a continuation of an exercise and a...
Well, my first job was for Doordarshan. My first paycheck was from Doordarshan, 250 rupees. I went to, there was a Doordarshan office in Worli. I remember traveling there by bus and going there and performing for Doordarshan. And the first, I think, popular film thing was Chaya Geet, where songs were shown, and that became very, very popular. So that was the news. People would watch news, and then the Chaya Geet started. Chitrahar, Chaya Geet, all those kind of things. The radio was huge. God bless his soul, Amin Saini Sahab, who left us. But I remember meeting him, and we would promote our films, and we would bank mostly on radio. And Bina ka geet Mala mein agar wo agar wo gana aa jaye, first aa jaye, to that would really help us promote. So I've gone through, I've been very fortunate from last so many years that I've been met all the greats of radio, and then Doordarshan. I did my first interview with Tabassum ji for Phool Ke Liye Gulshan Gulshan. That show was so popular that we titled one of our films called Phool Ke Liye Gulshan Gulshan. The title of the film was Phool Ke Liye Gulshan Gulshan. So, and then, how it is. So I've been very fortunate in that way, in terms of knowing all these people, working with them, meeting all the greats, and seeing them in flesh and blood. I've been very fortunate that, from Rafi Saab to Kishore Kumar to the, and then the next generation of singers, I have the, good fortune that they've done they've done, sung for me and made me what I am today, because I was only lip syncing, but it was their magical voice. And so, so on and so forth. And of course, as you said, that whatever digital technology is, it's actually what we're trying to do is to reach out to people and help, and it might be films, it might be anything, whatever you want to reach out to the consumers. It's about storytelling. It's how you connect, how you get people emotionally and in a way attract them to come in so that they get attracted, and how you market it, how you hype it, how you do it. But ultimately, I think you have to do it in a very, very honest, very pure, very, no matter what it is, you have to do it in a very sincere and true and real way. That always connects, I feel. And this is what I feel, very, very. This has been whatever experience I have and whatever I've seen, what I've gone through in my career, and I've seen other people's careers also. Because I do not only see my career, but I always look up to people in every field. It might be sports, it might be business, it might be politics, it might be entrepreneurs. I just keep on reading, watching, looking at them and how and what they have done to achieve what they have done. And I'm still a student, I'm still learning. And that's what I feel.
On that adoption of technology, and you've always imbibed it proactively, I want to touch upon social media. Because social media is becoming a great tool for us as platforms. How do you keep that real? Is there sometimes one feels, is there too much how much use is overused? How do you keep it real? In some ways also, I feel, was there a mystique to actors earlier? And with social media, when you feel like you can see your actor every day, you can literally follow them changing new clothes every day, and does that take away the mystique? And in some sense with Mr. Bachchan, yourself, Shah Rukh, is that the last of the superstars with social media? So how do you balance it so that it's helping? And I say this because I think viewers very keenly follow your social media, your fitness, your routine, everything that you do.
I think it's a tool, I feel there are plus points and minus points. You should know when to use it and not to use it. That's the key. You see, I was just reading, I was just listening to Denzel Washington. He said a very good thing. There were a time when if someone had to like you, it was very much in person. Like, I want you to like me. What I want over here, all the sitting on the esteemed guests over here, I want them to like me. That's it. But now on social media, you want 18 million or 10 million people to like you, and which are faceless. At least I can see a lot of faces here. I can see someone listening, someone on the phone, someone, kind of a thing. But at least I can see them, and I want to connect with them. I want them to like me. But when it becomes trying to, people who are completely, you don't know them, and without really doing anything, you want people to like you, and it doesn't have that. You should have something to give. Then only it has an impact. You have nothing to give, and you're just using social media. Just becomes like an addiction. That's very, very, very. That's not correct. I think that will take away, and of course, giving time. Of course, you have to switch off. When do you switch off? It's tough, but that's the way you have to use it correctly. And actors, there are certain actors who are using social media for, if they want, not only they're not doing it to project themselves as stars or as what they are doing, but sometimes to, if they believe in some, which is a social cause which they are very close to. It might be environment, it might be health, it might be fitness, it might be anything which they really believe in, they use the social platform and they use it correctly. And otherwise, we sometimes it becomes helpful for us when our film is releasing or something we have to promote. It becomes easier. But I think anything overkill is not good in terms of consumption also, and you have to use it correctly. You should know when to stop it. So that's the key of it. So there are advantages, a lot of advantages for a lot of people, for newcomers, for young entrepreneurs, business people. How do they reach out? And digital is the future. You know it. It is the future. Then how do we make content which connects? So the intent in that also has to be, it has to be very honest and very pure. and 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 I feel less is always more. Less is always more. You know, and you should know when and how to use it, and you will see it. That sometimes it just doesn't have. It has a negative impact. You know, and sometimes it has a positive impact. So it's your instinct, your sensibility, how you use social media.
On which note I want to ask, I think touch upon the topic. I feel, I'm guessing there are a lot of founders, startup executives here. I think one of the challenges I certainly face sometimes, and I don't know whether I do a good job of balancing or not, but with technology, in some ways, work has also become 7 by 24. Uh, and you know, we work very closely over the last couple of years. The energy that you have, and you know, to keep it going for decades and decades. What do you do to balance it? You know, do you switch off at some point in the day? How do you balance it with things outside of your work? You know, and something that all of us could take away a little bit in terms of just prioritizing, balancing, because you know today I think most of the people, the first thing that they wake up, they'll probably check their phone, you know, their WhatsApp messages, their emails. The moment you read the email, your mind starts working already on the reply. You hardly half away, but your mind is already back to work. And I don't know how that routine is sustainable if one has to replicate, you know, the sort of path that you follow.
Well, you know, I obviously it's a work in progress where I'm concerned. So every decade, things kept on changing. How I keep myself sane, how I keep myself normal, how I keep myself fit, how I feel I have the hunger to work and do my best. So that every decade, I kept on changing. When I started my career, what I used to do, then after 10 years, after 20 years, after 30 years, when I was in my 40s, when I was in my 50s, now I'm you know, almost in my late 60s. So it keeps on changing, and if you want to know which decade you're talking about, this decade now, when the social media and all those stresses and all the...
Having seen you up and close, I think all decades are relevant. Your energy levels today are as higher than a 20-year-old. So you can pick any decade that you want, you'll still be an example.
You know, there are a lot of, you know, there are a lot of people who have, you know, which I take away from them. It's like you know, you have your body is like a car. You know, like you treat it like a car. You buy a car. Sometimes you're lucky to get a good car. You know, sometimes the best of cars you're not lucky. So and then you feel blessed in the morning. You woke up in the morning that yes, you know, I'm a good car. Yeah, at least I have no problems. I'm still breathing. So how do I look after it? There are so many people who have, you know, cars which are 60 and 50 years old, but they really look after it. They polish it, they use the right petrol, they look after it, they cover it, they don't overuse it. And still they are speaking, you know, why do you call it? They have these vintage shows. There are cars which are almost 70, 80, 90 years old and they still look so good. There's something they've done right. So that's what you do. You have 24 hours in your, you know, and God has given you this body, this mind, and given you this power of so many things to think, to express. You have given you the tongue for the taste and everything, you know. So you have 24 hours to do so many things which give you so much of joy. So why can't, and the body which gives you so much of joy. So your mind and your body, why can't you give at least an hour and a half to that body and mind, which is going to give you so much of pleasure throughout the day in 24 hours. 22 घंटे आपको नींद भी मिल रही है, आप खाना भी खा रहे हैं, आप enjoy भी कर रहे हैं, आप काम भी कर रहे हैं, इस body के साथ, इस mind के साथ, आप 2 घंटा उसको नहीं दे सकते, जो body आपको इतना कुछ दे रही है. So that's my way of looking at it. I said, I want to keep this fit enough, my eyes, my, you know, everything. I should feel good about myself. The more, and somewhere you should be sometimes looking looking after yourself more than anything else. Because if you look after yourself, you feel good about yourself, then you'll be good to your family, you'll be able to solve their problems, you'll be good to your team, you'll be good in the office who are there, who are looking up to you. And if you're feeling fresh and fit, you can give more. And that's what I believe in. That's what I've done. And sleep. If you work hard, if you're tired, then only you get sleep. आप कुछ कर ही नहीं रहे, सिर्फ खा रहे हो, बैठ रहे हो, तो कहाँ नींद आएगी आपको? You have to exhaust yourself. You should fall dead by the night and just hit the sack and go to sleep. It works. Not only you worked hard, you worked on yourself, you worked on your body, and you played, and you should. And my thing is, besides, there's so many ways to keep yourself fresh. Some people can just walk for an hour, some people can run, you can do weights, you can do functional, you can do yoga, if you can add a sport to your daily exercise, is the best thing you can do, because sport is something which can really de-stress you. That's the only time, even when you're doing weights or walking or running or doing any kind of functional, still your mind is still, doing all the things which are there in your mind about family, work, business, career, everything. But when you're playing a sport, that's the best time you can really de-stress, because you're feeling so competitive. And that's time you don't think about anything else. And then after that, you can go back and do something. If you play in the morning, great. If you can, sometimes you can play in the evening also. Any sport. So you can include that sport. And I have noticed one thing: the busier you are, those are the people who are most accessible and have all the time in the world. But जितने भी लोगों को मिला पूरी दुनिया में, and I have met the best of best, and I feel they have all the time in the world for everything. So how find time for everything, and you have to find time for your mind and your body, and and the body and mind. And if you have found that time, you work that means sleep also. So these are the three factors. And of course, food is the key. You have to have a certain kind of control, and you should listen to your body and not listen to because food is to keep your body going, your mind going, not to really, it's not about just taste and enjoyment. Sometimes it's fine, but not every day, every meal. It doesn't work. And it's all about intake and outtake. If you have, and if one day you indulge, then the second day you have to work it out and keep your balance, your fixed deposit, which is the calories which you burn. That's like the fixed deposit. So if you have you've eaten a lot of calories, then you should have so much in your fixed deposit, which where you're burned, so the balance is always there. And I believe in very, very strongly is I have to earn the meal. I have to earn my meal. I believe in that. That's what I have done. If I have to eat a good meal, I should earn it. Earn it, like I have to really work, thrash my body and feel so hungry that I feel मैंने इतनी मेहनत की है अपने काम में, अपने family के साथ, अपने body के साथ, हर चीज़ के साथ. I deserve this meal. I have to earn it. I feel it's not. So that's what I do. Intake, outtake, earning my meal. These are the things which I can quickly tell you all. I hope you all understand what I'm saying.
I think I just want to touch upon one last topic. I know we were given half an hour. I do want to leave some time. I'm sure audiences will have a lot of questions they might want to ask you. But I want to get your take on this whole South versus Hindi debate. That's, as OTT, we of course find it very childish and unfounded. And I'll sort of share my take later, but I think it'll be interesting to hear your views about this whole South versus Hindi.
South, I'm sitting here because of South. I have done all my successful films. It was a South remake. My foundation was laid of discipline, of professionalism, of being committed to whatever you do. timings of whenever you have given, if it's a 7 o'clock shift, you're up by 5 and you finish everything, you're there ready at 7. If you want a sunrise shot at 5 o'clock, 5:30, you're ready there. So this is the kind of discipline, professionalism which is there in South, which I imbibe, because my first films were, one was in Telugu, one was in Kannada. And then of course all the adaptations are done, Beta, Judai, Wo Sat Din, Mohabbat, Nayak, they're all South Indian remakes. And I think all the greats, Indian great actors also have done all their most successful films have been South Indian. Might be Dilip Kumar's, if I can remember, Ramo Shyam was an adaptation. So many of Jitinder's films, Rajendra Kumar's films, and all the Anil Kapoor and Salman, of course. Yeah. Matter of fact, he was going through a low patch, and then Wanted came. That was an adaptation, complete adaptation, which brought him back. So South has always been, there. And then sometimes what happens is the debate now, because people love, because of media, social media and all, so it comes in the forefront. There were times when people were looking up to all the filmmakers from Bengal. There was Satyajit Ray, there was Ritvik Ghatak, there was Tarun Majumdar,
singers,
Kishore Da, Uttam Kumar, Suchitra Sen, so many of the greats we always look up to. And the film industry really started from Calcutta and came to Mumbai, And then South, when I was in South, I remember shooting in South, and they would look for some films, great, good stories made in Bengal, made in Calcutta. Like Sayak was an adaptation of a Bengali film which was made in Hindi, then made in Telugu, and then made in Kannada and Malayalam. It was made. So these things have always happened. And sometimes what happens is the debate now, which is starting, because there were few filmmakers and few films which came and became really successful, like Bahubali and RRR and KGF, Pushpa. So it happened. Sometimes these things happen. I remember Ek Duje Ke Liye when it released, and Kamala Hassan took India film industry by storm. The film became massive hit. I remember even Raj Kapoor Saab, who's always made films with his children, was making a film with Kamala Hassan. He wanted to make the film which ultimately I did, Swati Mutyam, which was also again an adaptation, which was called Ishwar. But he was wanting to make Ishwar. Raj Kapoor himself was producing it, K. Vishwanath was directing it, and Kamal Hassan was acting. That deal, unfortunately for me, didn't work out, so I don't know the reason. And ultimately I did the film, Ishwar, which is one of my films which people really still, one of my most favorite films. So these things keep on happening. There are times when all of a sudden there are so many phenomenal filmmakers from Mumbai, from the Hindi film industry, and there are 5, 6, 8 of them, they're making such fantastic films that you feel everybody's inspired and motivated by the Hindi films. And it has happened earlier also with Manila Pramsa, when Roja, Bombay released. All of us were all the filmmakers that were very inspired and motivated with his storytelling. So these things keep on happening. They are inspired sometimes we are inspired, sometimes there are great filmmakers here, sometimes there are great actors over here, great stars, and there are certain great stars and great actors over there who are doing so. So basically they're all Indian films. So I've seen it all. So I feel this is unnecessary to get.
No, I agree, but I feel that I think this is an area where we as founders, executives of digital companies have also contributed a lot. I think what's happened over the last 4-5 years, data is showing us that consumers today are watching content in more languages than ever before. I think on average, my guess is everybody sitting here is watching content in at least 3 to 4 languages. And what that's done is, there was always talent in every part of India. You named so many of these stories, whether it's Bengal, South, Malayalam cinema did not become great overnight. They always had great stories.
Yeah, the first 3D film was made in Malayalam, Choda Cheda, from Malayalam.
But I think OTT is given access to consumers, and for first time, I feel in some sense India is becoming one market. And we're seeing results of that in box office.
Yeah.
Because now we're watching movies as Indian movies. Who knows, Karma today would have done 1,000 crores. You know, because the box office potential is not limited now to Hindi speaking belt or the Telugu belt or the Tamil belt anymore. Audiences are enjoying watching movies of any language in India today.
Absolutely. And I think one of the reasons why, because I heard that the consumption of television is a lot of South Indian films, people just love watching. All these action films and masala films, people just love it. They just love it. That's one of the reasons that these films when they release them, and these actually these larger than life action films, and the heroism came back in a big way, and people wanted the leading men to be like heroes, and it's always been there. It's like the trend keeps on changing. There was a time when we were catering more to the NRI audience, they were making those kind of films, like which Karan and Adi and Suraj made, and suddenly the trend changed. And I remember, so I've gone through all those changes. ये क्या हो गया यार? चलो, let me do हम आपके दिल में रहते हैं, and हमारा दिल आपके पास है, So I would then, you have to keep on, listening to the content, and you feel as if, okay, I suit this role. I can't do exactly what they're doing, but at least I'll do it in my own way, these kind of films. So, and then that's what I think phases keep on back. Next time when we speak over here, there'll be some other thing which will invite, there'll be some other debate which will go on.
So, I know we have some topics, we can go on and on. This will turn out to be a 2-hour debate. I think at this point, I'll take a pause and maybe open for audiences to ask questions. You and I can do this offline for.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Anybody wants to have a question or ask a question? Or everybody wants to? Yeah.
Lucky me. Hello, sir.
That would stand up here, not the sitting types.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's a great honor to meet you, and the fact that I got to ask a question is really great. First off, huge respect for you and what you do. So my question is it fair to say that the landscape of community engagement has changed over the years? And you, as somebody who's had the front seat row right from the 1980s, and as in your role of an actor and producer, what do you do to foster these communities? Also include the fact that right from the boomer generation to the Gen Z generation, who I am a part of, we have mad respect for the way you live and for the work you do. And today in the industry, it's so hard for marketers, for everybody in the world to get and grab Gen Z attention, but our eyes are always set on you.
Just there in front of my bedroom because Train Spotting is I had asked to get the poster, you used to do this film blindly. I'm sick and tired of seeing you sing and dance. Why don't you do something which is very grey? Same thing happened, I said, how can I play Priyanka Chopra's father? She'd been opposite me. I said, then he just walked in the room. I said, you're not playing the father, you're playing this character. Do you like the character? I said, yeah, I love the character. I said, then do it. So you having the right people around you also makes a lot of difference. So it might be your children, it might be someone from your team. I think that's the way you stay connected with the Gen Z which you're talking about. And I've been that way lucky that I've made digital effort. Like Solo reads a lot of books. And when Night Manager came to me, I said, Dad, I've read the book, it is fantastic. It's terrific, you have to do this film, this show. So, so you have to, that way I've been lucky. Then there are your manager, Bilal would say, he's my manager. Or like here today, my trainers over here, who's been me since last more than 12 years. So I have to listen to them. I said, this is what is right, this is what is correct. And I have to be committed to what they tell me to do. So you have to have the right team where family is concerned, where fitness is concerned, where ideas are concerned. And I keep on debating, Denzel Washington always says, great people talk about ideas, and people gossip less and think more, talk about your work. I remember going to you know, to a party or a discotheque, and I would, whenever I get an opportunity, I would just keep on, forget the party, forget the dancing, forget everything, and I would just keep on discussing ideas. Okay, what I can do next, what is there? Speak to the youngsters, speak to them, and it's what what is happening, which is the music which is really doing well. Why am I not? As the music trend also keeps on changing. So and sometimes I said, Abhi, my mind is not working. I don't know which music is really going to hit the charts. But the kids know more. So I said, no, I say music hoga. This is what I like. That's not the way. So you have to. That's what I have done in my career to keep be relevant. Abhi bhi lucky that way. And filmmakers, good filmmakers have come to me and chosen me, and good people have come around me, and of course the family was paramount.
So that's really impressive. You are literally the poster child for evolution and growing with your community and your environment. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. I'm Andra. I myself work as a co-producer and executive producer. So I have my shows on Amazon as well as my film releasing in the theatres this Friday. I've been on your show.
How come I'm not in your film?
I've been on your shoot during 24 as well, and you were you got the format in fiction in India for the first time. There was non-fiction formats already in the country, but you got 24 as the fiction format for the first time. So my question to you is that during the pandemic, obviously when people couldn't go to the cinemas and the OTT viewing increased, and that kind of changed the viewing trend and the pattern and the habits overall, and it took quite some time for us to get people back into the theatres. So when you sign a film as an actor or you're producing a film, I'm talking mainly for the feature film format, what would you do or what do you do already to ensure that both mediums coexist? As in, like, we still have people going to the cinemas and not necessarily waiting for it to come on the OTT and not really going into the theatres. Do we still need that medium to exist as well? Or what are producers doing, or is the OTT platform also helping the producers to ensure that people also come to the theatres and wait for another 2-3 months maybe for the film to come on the OTT platform?
I think, you see, you have to go with your gut first of all. You have to go with your instinct, what you feel is right. Okay? You like the story, you love the story. Now, when you develop the story and this, and then you have to use your is it right now correct for the theatrical audience? You have to be little not delusional also. Okay, whatever you make is going to go to theatres, and whatever you're going to make is going to go to OTT. So that call you have to take, and you have to and the ideas have to be something which you feel ये कभी idea आया नहीं है, something new, something fresh, casting, all these things are very very important when when you're making when you want to tell a story. And then once the story is ready, once the script is ready, then you decide, okay, is it right? And you'll get the feedback immediately, to a certain extent. And sometimes the platforms will discourage you, sometimes the theatrical people will discourage you. But if you really believe in it, you go for it. You go for it. But don't go for it blindly and rashly. Be very, very careful. Because I feel, sometimes making a film within the budget also is very, very paramount. Very paramount, which I've learned. You can't just get carried away and keep on spending and and putting so much pressure on the film and on yourself. So the lesser the pressure on you, the better you can, tackle all your problems. So the budgeting is very, very important. First is the story, the script, and then the budget. These are the two important factors which will make it, at least you will sleep well, and creatively you can do justice to what you want to do. Otherwise, if you have so many other problems, creatively you're not able to do what you want to do. You can't create pressure. So these are the very, very important factors which I've learned. and 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 I feel somewhere, I think during pandemic, obviously, you know, things changed dramatically all over the world for everything, and it has taught us a lot of things also, you know. And we are again forgetting the pandemic and going back to the rut, which is dangerous again. But if you can go back constantly and remember what were the positives, where your family is concerned, where your friends are concerned, where consumption is concerned, all those things if you remember, and you say, "Nahi yaar, oh, that also there were certain things which were great takeaways from the pandemic." And of course, the trend change of consumption. Now the theatres, now we have to find something that we all survive with each other. There's theatrical films, which are big event films you can make, and sometimes there is a strong, like for example, you make a story, and if you can afford to make the story without really giving stress to yourself, and you have that kind of money, and you make a small film, like Vidu Vinod Chopra could make it. He could make it because he can afford it. He could take that chance. He had that kind of money. He was not trying to play with someone else's money. He was playing with his own money. So that, you should know where you stand. You can't start experimenting and exploiting someone else's money. You have to treat someone else's money also like your own money if you want to succeed in business. That there is someone backing you with the money and you treat it like uska paisa hai yaar. Paisa nahi hona chahiye. And you can't do that. So I said these are the few things which you have to keep in mind. The story, the script, and of course the budget. These are two very important factors.
Anil, if I can add to what you said, because this is an interesting dilemma. We are in a unique situation where we are a studio and also an OTT platform. And I think if you take the COVID era apart, because like I said, that's a era in history, blip in a history that nobody's ever seen before. Hopefully we'll never see again. But I think now when we are looking at content, there are certain movies you feel this is meant for community viewing. You see, there's a different feel and experience when you watch it in a theater with 200 more people. But there are some movies that maybe are meant for individual viewing or a small gathering viewing, and maybe they're better suited to go directly on OTT. Also, sometimes, like you said, around budget, maybe some movies are beautiful stories, but you don't need to put them under the pressure of box office success or failure. So I think from our point of view, we feel it gives us an interesting optionality of telling more wider stories. Otherwise, सिर्फ एक theater lens से देखते तो not every story would have qualified in terms of saying you may go ahead with this movie. So I think both these worlds are allowing, I feel, larger stories.
It's the best time, I think, for all storytellers. We could ask for a better time for all of us. That you can create two stories. There's so many job opportunities now. Today, when I'm making a film, there were times when everybody was available. Now nobody's available. No HOD is available, no actors are available, everybody's busy. I am matching the other actors' dates, other HOD's dates. All the stars are doing that. So, which is great time because everybody has a lot of work. There are a lot of job opportunities, which is fantastic for this. And revenues have also increased. But you can't take advantage also, to sort of like, because the OTT is there, that you don't take it seriously and don't take it lightly. We made Thar, but we made it as if this is the best thing we could ever do. We used every resources and that we were fortunate that we had this opportunity to make this film. And obviously we made it very bravely because we didn't have the theatrical pressure. So we made what we believed in. And we did it very honestly and sincerely. And did the correct casting, did it, and made it within budget, saved money. For the OTT platform. The OTT platform was surprised. इतना पैसा बच गया, बोले खर्चा नहीं तो क्या करेगा? ले लो वापस. So you have to do sometimes. When you do these kind of things, then that's the reason that everybody would want to back you. Obviously, people do go after success, and sometimes there are certain films where you do it very casually and don't work very hard. That also becomes a very big success, but that can be very, very dangerous for that person, I feel.
Thanks, sir. I have my Lavada Ladies releasing this Friday. So although it's a
I was
small-
supposed to be there last night.
Yes,
But I was completely under the weather, and I promised to be here, and I wanted to do my best coming here. As I said, whatever you commit, and you have to be, you have to give your best. So I said, if I go there, and I'm so exhausted, I was doing a lot of work, and then I sent a message to Amir also that I'm completely under the weather, and then I have to get up in the morning and come here. I can't come here though, you should listen to your body also. Just listen to your body. And I said, I'm sure you'll understand, and I hope you understand.
Wish you all the best for your movie.
But I'm looking forward to watching
Thank
it.
you so much.
Thank you. I think we have taken a lot of your time. Thank you so much. It was wonderful. And thank you, Rohit, for
Thank you so much.
inviting me. And thank you all for.
As always, a pleasure. A big round of applause, sir.